Hi there, fellow pirates, plunderers, pillagers, and privateers. Do you like going out into the vast seas, to the unknown, to beat the living crap out of mind flayers, krakens being controlled by mind flayers, other pirates, and even weird sea monsters? And do you like traveling to the unknown to maybe die of a drowning death and to forever never forget the smell of rotten fish? Well, maybe you should really look into Call from the Deep.
Hello there, fellow Dungeons & Dragons players and Dungeon Masters alike. I've said it before on my channel and I will say it again. I do not review a lot of PDFs on my channel, and the reason for that is, well, I like physical copies more. And that is not to say that there are no good PDFs out there, because believe me, there are. But physical copies for me are just easier to first of all review on my channel, because I can hold them in my hands and show them to you, and that's just not convenient when you're holding a laptop to show the laptop to you guys. It's not really convenient, and I have to edit in some pictures and some stuff right here probably. And the second reason is, well, I just like physical copies. I like skipping through them, like holding them in my hands. But since I'm spending a little more time on this channel, both on and off screen, I actually now have the time and taking the time to read through a lot of these PDFs that I got from the Dungeon Masters Guild and Drive-Thru-RPG, and there are, I didn't count them, but there are literally hundreds of PDFs, free PDFs that got sent to me by creators from the Dungeon Masters Guild and Drive-Thru-RPG. And all of you who've sent those to me, really thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you so much, and I'm really doing my best to look through all of them, but you just need to be patient. Every now and then I see one of them pop out. I just look at the cover, I read the introduction, I skip through the artwork, and I look at the back, and I just see a PDF that really hits me right where it needs to hit me. And I've seen this PDF by JVC Parry. Yes, I've talked a lot about JVC Parry in the past because I'm a real big fan of him. And he's created this entire campaign setting. Well, it's not a campaign setting, an entire campaign, an adventure spanning from level 1 all the way up to at least level 10. And I see players that are really adventurous and they really want to scout and they really want to check out the environment. I see them reaching way higher levels than that with this campaign. And there are a lot of good campaigns out there, pre-written campaigns by Kobold Press, by 2C Gaming, by Wizards of the Coast themselves. But this one, for a naval campaign, for a campaign that has piracy, a campaign that has weird islands and krakens and mind flayers and krakens that are controlled by mind flayers and everything. This is one of the best complete adventures that I've ever seen written out, especially in PDF. It's such a shame there's not a physical copy out there. So if there's somebody from the Dungeon Masters Guild watching this right now, please release a physical copy, a print on demand for Call from the Deep, because I really need to hold one in my hands. And I will let you in on a little secret. I'm actually planning an actual play thing on my channel where I sit at a table with two or three players and we will play through an adventure, and this one is really high on my shelf to play in that actual play, podcast or video series or what you want to call it. Somewhere on an island around the Sword Coast, a mysterious ship, an airship, crash landed, and it is the characters that agree upon to actually escort a boat to that island to see if what's going on and what crash landed and what exactly what it was. And they travel from Neverwinter, they agree upon this journey, and they travel from Neverwinter to this island to find a weird, mysterious looking airship, and they have probably never seen it before. before, and the characters will probably not know what it is, and especially the crew members that are with them will absolutely not know what it is. And it is actually a Nautiloid, which is a weird airship in the form of a Nautiloid. And if you do not know what I do not know if I'm pronouncing this correctly. This could be murdering it, but I do not know how to pronounce it. I don't care if you put in Nautiloid, or if you put that in Google, you know what it is. It's a weird shell creature that has tentacles like a mind flayer, and it is actually a airship used by mind flayers, spoiler alert by the way, used by mind flayers to travel between planes. But the characters and the crew, they will not know what's going on, and although there are some clues out there already, they actually go back to Neverwinter quite empty-handed. And it is in Neverwinter, once they come in Neverwinter, of course, traveling from and to the island, they get attacked by some creatures, they get attacked by pirates and pillagers and stuff like that. And they get back to Neverwinter, if they're lucky and if they're still alive. And it's there where they have to fend off a pirate attack to Neverwinter. It's a big battle, there's a lot of stuff going on. And it is there where the story actually really kicks off, because, well, the Nautiloid seems to be a airship that mind flayers use to actually transport their big boss, their big bad boss, the Elder Brain. If you do not know what an Elder Brain and a mind flayer is, look them up in Volo's Guide to Monsters, read a bit about it, and you'll absolutely know what's going on. The mind flayers use them to come to the material plane from other planes and to actually look for Gith. If you do not know what Gith are, make sure to look them up in the Volo's Guide to Monsters. Also, I think they're in there. Maybe they're in the Monsters Manual. Well, who knows, just look them up. They are looking for Gith to take away and to enslave, because they are having a lot of beef with them. And that's where they use this airship for. But this airship crash landed on a island. But there is no mind flayer, there's no Elder Brain, there's nothing to be seen. So it is up to the party, and it is up to some of the party's friends and some of the party's allies to actually find what's exactly going on and where the mind flayers that were accompanying this ship, where they are, especially the Elder Brain. If there is an Elder Brain out there somewhere, you need to find it and you need to destroy it. I really wish I didn't read as much into this thing as I've already done. Because if there is one module out there from my entire collection, if there is one module out there that I do not want to play as a dungeon master, but I would love to experience as a player, it's this one. This thing is so full of intrigue, full of interesting characters, full of absolutely amazing world building. It is just, you really need to experience this as a player. So if you are a player and you want your dungeon master to run you through this thing, stop watching right now. Yes, I am a YouTuber and I'm telling you to not watch my videos. Click the URL, copy it and paste it somewhere in the chat screen with your dungeon master and make him or her watch it, because you really want to experience. This thing is so good. If you would create a cool protagonist and you write this out into a novel, it would be a absolutely beast of a novel. It would be amazing, and I just think the storytelling in here is just so good. JVC Parry has a way of telling a story that's simple enough for a simple guy like me to understand, but it also uses a lot of very cool, I don't know, storytelling hooks and intrigues and stuff. So you really sometimes need to think about stuff to really understand what's going on. And the thing is, I actually I stopped reading because I really would like to play as a player, and well, I am really good at role-playing characters that don't know anything. Even if I know what's going on as a player, my character won't know what's going on, so I will role-play that part, and once I get to a part where I don't really know what's going on, and as a player, that's where it really gets interesting. Now, about the setting. Something that JVC Parry chose to do was to use the Forgotten Realms, especially the Sword Coast, to play out this adventure. And I personally am not really a big fan of the Sword Coast. Don't shoot me. I know I am a review channel for Dungeons & Dragons, and the Sword Coast is about like the main setting for Dungeons & Dragons, but it is not for me. I've played Sword Coast and Forgotten Realms, Faerun. I've played there many years, especially my 3.5, my 3rd edition, 4th edition era. I played there so much that I I sometimes think there's just too much going on in that setting, if I'm making any sense at all, and you need to really know a lot about it to really be comfortable playing there. But if you decide to actually play the adventure in the Sword Coast where it is written, and you won't change up any of the names, and you really are going to use the Sword Coast, make sure one of you guys at the table has this thing. Although I don't really think it's a very good book. Well, I just don't think there's not enough content in there to justify the price tag. But if you have it laying around, it can come in really handy. And if you are the Dungeon Master for Call from the Deep, use the Volo's Guide to Monsters, because there is a lot of mind flayers and other weird creatures in the adventure that are in Volo's Guide to Monsters, and also the Monsters Manual, obviously. But this one could come in really handy if you are playing Call from the Deep. Before I go any further with this review, I just want to say very quickly that I'm still giving away my very own copy that I've used for years of Tome of Beasts. This one, literally this one. I will send it to you to your home address or post address or whatever. If you win, all you need to do is click the video that I've linked somewhere around here with the giveaway, comment on that video, of course subscribe to the channel, and that's all you need to do to have a chance to win my copy of Tome of Beasts. The reason why I'm giving this away is in the video. Make sure to check it out. And it is when the characters start digging for information, they start looking around and they start exploring the world and the Sword Coast, and they start looking for clues of what's going on. It is then that there are a lot of pirate attacks. There are a lot of creatures that are coming from the depths of the sea that people haven't seen for ages, coming up attacking ships. And there is even this big, huge spellcasting kraken that attacks ships, that attacks entire islands and entire fleets. And all of that is because, and this is the major spoiler, do not watch it if you're a player, it is all because of the Elder Brain escaped from the crash landed ship, and it actually controls a lot. It controls this big ass kraken. It controls a lot of pirates. It controls some cults. It controls sea creatures. It controls everything it really wants to control, and it's causing mayhem all around the Sword Coast and some part of the Trackless Sea, which is more up north. And there is a lot of mayhem out there, and it is up to the players to, of course, stop the big bad guy and to stop the entire world from going under and being enslaved by mind flayers. Now, when I summarize the entire thing in a few seconds like I just did, you might think like, okay, how is this thing going to take me from level 1 all the way to level 10? It seems like it's really simple and there's not a lot going on. But I have to stop you right there. It is the storytelling and the world building that really does it for me, because for example, if you are traveling, when the characters are traveling from Neverwinter to this island, which is not even that far, there's already a lot going on. I mean, the crew has personality and they have background. The captain has a personality, background, stat block associated with her. The ship there's all kinds of storytelling elements around this ship, around this voyage. There is an entire chasing scene where the players have to try to outrun a bunch of pirates, and it is an entire skill check thing where the players have to work together to be faster and outmaneuver a bunch of pirates. And if the pirates catch up, it becomes a battle. If the pirates don't catch up, it doesn't become a battle. The players get attacked. Well, the entire ship gets attacked by sea creatures, and the entire voyage to that island, which is not that far, is an entire session, maybe 2 sessions, maybe 3 sessions, who knows, it depends on how much role-playing you put in there, long. And it gives you this feeling when you're reading it. It gives you this feeling of a bigger world. It's not just the characters sitting on a ship and, oh yeah, there's also crew members, but forget about those crew members. They're just there if you need them, and if we don't need them, we won't talk about them. No, the crew members are actually there. The captain is actually there. You can befriend them. You can become allies with them. And every part of this adventure, every small part, every journey from A to B, every time they have to talk to an NPC, every time they have to search out a clue, it becomes a bigger thing. There's all kinds of side activities in this adventure also, where your players can choose to really stick to the path of the main story, like playing Skyrim or playing, I don't know, any open world RPG. You can stick to the main plot and really go down that path, or you can just oh, there's a magic item, there's supposed to be a magic item right there, let's go try to grab that magic item before we go back to the main path. All of that is in here, and it is just a PDF. I mean, a lot of the times when I read PDFs, they're very good, but they are PDFs, and a lot of the times there's just not that much effort put into them as in some of the other physical books. And when I read this, I just want to put the Wizards of the Coast sticker, approved by Wizards of the Coast sticker, on there. I slap it on there and sell it as a Wizards of the Coast thing, because it's that good, and it's even better. If Wizards of the Coast would have created this, it would be their best adventure yet. And the thing is, I wanted to actually create an entire review of this thing, but I've decided to stop reading halfway because I want to play it as a player, and I just want to experience it, and I just do not want to spoil the entire thing for you, because that's the thing when I review adventure books. When I do like monster books, I can show a lot of monsters, I can show whatever I want, because it won't really be spoiling. But with adventures and plot hooks and twists, it kind of is spoiling, and it kind of takes the fun out of when you as a dungeon master start reading it and you're like, I knew this, I knew this, I knew this. So I won't spoil this one for you too much. Another example for why this adventure book is so good and well written is, for example, this elder brain that escaped from the ship that crash landed. It actually escaped with 5 of his guys that survived the crash landing, and instead of just having 5 bad guys for the players to defeat or talk to or otherwise engage with in some way or another, JVC Parry actually chose to write out, first of all, get a decent name for the 5 dudes that survived the crash landing and helped the elder brain escape, but also write out an entire, like, their ideals, their flaws, their background, like as if they are characters. And that's what people don't do enough of. There's always this big bad guy, and they have a lot of lore and they have a lot of things going on with them, but then there are these small people that help the bad guy out, and they are just random monsters a lot of the times that have like a name and maybe like 1 or 2 sentences accompanied with them of who they are and why they're doing stuff. But JVC Parry just puts a lot of effort into creating that character and creating a character for your players to get to know and of course get to hate over the course of the adventure. And there's also smaller things in here that really help you as a dungeon master to run this adventure. First of all, the important stuff like names of locations and NPCs and enemies and stuff like that are in bold letters, which people don't do enough. Please put stuff in bold letters in the middle of your wall of text so we can actually find them and we don't have to write them down when we're reading it. Please do more of that. And JVC Parry, thank you so much for doing that. And there's other small things in there, like there is this entire list of all the NPCs, the important NPCs your players encounter, and with a very small 1-sentence description of that NPC, so you can remember, like, okay, this guy was a bit like that and this woman was a bit like that, and of course the chapter and the page number of where the NPC can be found in the book for reference, because when your players are they are visiting a place and they remember a NPC and you need information about that NPC, you can just look it up in this list and you can go, okay, she was in chapter 5, we go back to chapter, I will go back to chapter 5, check it out, which is of course an amazing thing to do as a writer to help out the dungeon master have an easy time actually playing the adventure you worked your ass off to create. And there are a few more reasons why I think you should get it, and one of them is, and I will always talk about this in one of my reviews, and that is the artwork. The artwork in God from the Deep is so good. It scares me. I mean, it's just it is of such top quality, and it has this I don't know, this je ne sais quoi to it. It's not cartoony like Kobold Press. It is not ultra realistic like some of the other arts. It's kind of its own thing, and I think JVC Parry really did a good job selecting the artists for this adventure. So if you are an artist for this adventure, absolutely an amazing job. I mean, the moment I saw the cover, I was hooked, but there's more artwork in there. There's some of the sketchy artwork in there, of the sketchy type, which I really like because it really speaks to the imagination. And then there is artwork for the NPCs, the important NPCs, like the 5 villains that help the Elder Brain, or the well, NPCs in the cities in Neverwinter and other places characters visit. The captain of the ship. They more have a realistic feeling to them, and they're more detailed, and I really liked it because it gives them a lot of personality. So the artwork in here is just top level. There's no question about it. Just to remind you, it's 270 pages thick. It is an adventure that will take you from level 1 all the way to at least level 10, and I see people even getting to level 11, 12, 13, and maybe even further. It is a big thing. It is just a full-on campaign, a story like you would get from Wizards of the Coast. But when you look at the credits, right? Story, JVC Parry. Author, JVC Parry. Then there is an editor and a proofreader, which are people that help JVC Parry out with doing a good job. Then there is the cover arts. Then there are interior artists, because the art part he has to put out for players that can actually do art, of course. And then there is the cartography. There's a few names out in there, but JVC Parry's name is also in there. The layout, JVC Parry, alright, and I think his name is in here somewhere else. I mean, most of the time when somebody creates a booklet, a adventure, especially one of this size, the story is from them. But there's also like when it says author, there's like their name, and then there's a few more names because they span it out. There's people writing different parts of an entire campaign. But JVC did all of this, like a lot of it himself. He had people help him out, especially with the art and the cartography, and of course proofreading, because it's not really smart to proofread your own thing. But he wrote it himself, he came up with the story himself, and I know the guy a little bit personally. By accident, I played a game with him once. I got invited to a game and he was in there, and we became buddies in one way or another. And I know the guy and I follow him on Twitter, and he worked his freaking ass off to get this out on the Dungeon Masters Guild in the version it is on there right now. I mean, I remember him working on it, 2 years ago or something, and he didn't stop working on it until in his eyes it was perfect, it was done, it was good. And from me as a reviewer, as a YouTuber, to you guys as viewers, I promise you, I know the guy. If you buy this thing for $30 or $40, depending on when you buy it, you will help out not just a awesome creator, but a creator who spends like gazillion hours on something and then puts it out. And that's something the entire gaming industry can really use, especially the video gaming industry. Finish a damn thing before you put it out. JVC Parry, I really love your work. I love you as a guy, and I just love Call from the Deep. Okay, before you guys think I'm in love with JVC Parry or something, I need to say something bad about him just to balance it out. So, you're a weirdo. No, you're not. I love you. I don't really know what to say anymore about this adventure Call from the Deep without spoiling the entire thing for you, other than it is very well written. It is written with some humor, it's written with a lot of depth, there's good storytelling, good world building. There's statistics for NPCs, there's maps you can use for your ships. If you're building like a fleet or something, you can use these maps to put your little statues in. Miniatures in, and of course there are player handouts that actually look a lot like player handouts. I mean, there is this sketch of what an NPC gives your players, a sketch of an entrance, and it actually looks like a very bad drawn sketch that would be given to you by an NPC, which is great because, well, that really helps to just involve yourself into the story. Those small things that JVC Parry does very good. Check out his work on the Dungeon Masters Guild by clicking the link in the description below. Make sure if you're looking for a new campaign that will amaze your players, make sure to pick this one up, and I hope your inspiration may guide you.
One has 8 arms, 8 legs, and 8 eyes. 8 pirates